Well, I was going to do a nice little intro where I was like, hello and welcome, but I hate the sound of my voice and I don't do the happiness thing very well, so the heck with that, let's just get this over with. This video is going to be a new player orientation and sales tips video for the Pursuit of Happiness Guild, for the PC version of the Elder Scrolls Online. This video will also cover a wide array of topics and provide beginner as well as intermediate level information on these topics. If you wish to know more about a specific topic in the video, you can Google search that topic to get more detailed information on it. If I forget anything that's really important, I'll try to touch it up later on using annotations in the video. Oh, and there will be timestamps in the video's description, so it's easy to find each topic if you need to come back to it. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's get started. Okay, so up first is new player orientation. The first topic here is how to find the guild info and get updates on the guild info. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to push G. And then, if you have multiple guilds, you want to go up here and select the guild that you want the info on. So in this case, it'll be the Pursuit of Happiness. And then you're going to want to go to the Home tab here. And right there, you've got the message of the day, updates, guild store, blah, 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 background information, TeamSpeak, all kinds of other stuff. I should probably blur that out, but it doesn't really matter. A quick little about the guild. The guild was originally created to troll in PvP, but like it says here, all are welcome to join the guild and use the market if they wish. We are starting to branch out into being a small trading guild. Rules and requirements. Right now, we don't really have any rules or requirements. When we hit 500 members, we will put in place a 1-month inactivity policy, where if you are inactive for 1 month, you get booted. If you start playing again, you can come back and just message us and we'll get you in here, or someone in the guild, and they'll get you an invite if there's room. If we become really popular and it's always packed, we will probably put in a 2-week inactivity policy. That's further down the road. Up next is game mechanics. What is a guild store and how does it work? Well, that's pretty easy to explain. A guild store is exactly what it sounds like. It is a store that you can access from any bank in the game that is exclusive to your guild. So as you can see right here, I just accessed the guild store. Now, you can search for items in the guild store, you can sell different items in the guild store, you can check your listings of the items you currently have for sale, but there are limitations to this, and one of the limitations is you only have 30 sales slots at any one time that you can list items per guild. So you can be on up to 5 guilds, but you can only sell 30 items per guild. Now, that's not something we control. That's game mechanics. We've got no control over that. There is a 1% listing fee, which is refunded to you if the item sells. If not, I think it goes either to the NPCs or it goes into our guild bank. I don't know which. I do know for sure there is a 7% tax when an item sells. That does go directly into the guild bank. We get that, and that'll in turn help us pay for guild traders, which brings us to our next point. What is a guild trader and how do they work? Well, as I said before, only guild members can list items in the store to be sold. But if you have a guild trader, anybody in the game can come up to that guild trader and buy stuff from your store. They still can't list, but they can buy stuff. Now, guild traders cost, it really depends on where you go. Guild traders can cost tons and tons and tons of money per week. We're talking thousands, if not millions, depending on where you are. And you have to bid on them, so you're competing with other people. It's a really crappy system. There's not really a way to tell if you're the highest bidder or not, or how much something is going for, or if you've been outbid. It's pretty much throw enough money at it and hope that you get the guild trader each week. I think the guilds reset on Monday. After that, they are locked in for that entire week, and you can start bidding again immediately, but you won't know if you got a trader or not until the next Monday. The other thing is you can only bid on one guild trader at a time. So, take that as you do with that info as you will, but that's why it's so difficult to get guild trader slots, because A, competition is high, B, there are a limited number in the game, C, there are many guilds competing for them, and D, they're expensive as hell. So the next topic is going to be highly recommended add-ons. These add-ons are optional, but as I said before, we highly recommend them. In fact, it's more than that. you are honestly doing yourself a disservice by not having them. So the first one would be Minion, which is a add-on manager. It makes your life so much easier. Just take my word for this and get that rather than doing everything manually. The next thing that you're going to want to do when you get Minion, and I'll send you links and stuff in the description, and I'm probably playing a little clip right now. I'm recording this in pieces, so you can get it from this site here. Then you want to open up Minion and search. You're going to look for Master Merchant and Tamriel Trade Center. The others are optional. If you're a crafter, you probably want Craft Store. If you're into combat, they got some combat UIs, mini maps, stuff like that, Skyshard stuff. We're not talking about that right now. The difference between Minion and Tamriel Trade Center, there are differences between Master Merchant and Tamriel Trade Center. Master Merchant scans multiple guild stores, and you will probably want to be in multiple guilds if you're going to be using this, and it records items that sell and what they sell for and gives you an average based on that. It takes a while especially when you first get it, and especially if you don't have multiple stores, it takes a while for Master Merchant to gather enough data to start spitting out recommended sales prices to let you know if it's a good deal or not, because of the way it works. It's also pretty resource heavy, especially if you have a large cache of items, so it can cause a bit of lag. Tamriel Trade Center, on the other hand, is much more complicated and works much quicker with less resources being used, usually. The way Tamriel Trade Center works is it gives you averages based on things that are listed. Now, note that word listed. It doesn't mean sold, it means what people are trying to sell things for. And some people try to sell things for ridiculous amounts of money, and they probably aren't going to sell. So you got to be careful with that. So I recommend getting both, personally, but that's just me. You can choose whichever one you want. Tamriel Trade Center also has a website that you can use to search multiple guild stores in the game for items. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be items that haven't shown up on the website. The way Tamriel Trade Center works is people have to have the desktop client add-on, scan guild stores, and then upload that to the website. That's pretty easy. If you guys want a video on that to get that set up, there's plenty of them out there. I'm not going to do that in this one, but you can see it right here. This scan all listings thing. I would go to a store and start scanning listings, and see, I can't. We don't currently have a guild kiosk, so we can't even scan right now. But in fact, I was already scanning earlier in the beginning of this video, so you can just go back and look at that. But you scan the listings, you upload them, and then it goes to the main website. Sometimes when they add new items to the game, it takes a little while for it to pop up on the website because they don't have data for the item, like icons and stuff. That's a lot of work on their end. It's basically a giant logging, caching, and search function that has a UI for guild stores. It's really nice. I highly recommend Tamriel Trade Center. Number 4, sales and money-making tips and tricks. Well, obviously, like we said before, use Master Merchant and Tamriel Trade Center to find a good base price. If you don't have enough data, don't worry. It should collect after, a week or two using the add-ons. Tamriel Trade Center will probably work before your Master Merchant will, for that reason. Next thing is you're going to want to search the guild store for similar items that you're about to list, and you want to try to list slightly below average for fast sales. Now, like I said before, we don't have any rules. You can charge stupid amounts if you want. You can try to undercut people. In fact, that is actually not selling for stupid amounts, because you probably won't sell or make any money. And if you're not making money, it's not our fault. You should probably look at your prices. Let me give you an example right here. I'm not trying to call you out, buddy, or throw you under a bus, bro. So if you see this, my bad. I mean, I'm trying to help you out. Maybe you might want to, fix that. But the prices that you have right here, the reason look at this guy. See, these are blue. These are good deals. These are really good deals. This guy over here is selling for almost 200% what those items cost. And he's got a number of things like that. These are probably not going to sell, whereas the other people's stuff is likely going to sell. So you want to Try to be around the trade average for what Tamriel Trade Center and Master Merchant are saying, and then you want to try to be a little bit cheaper than that for better sales. And if you want to get really fast sales, you want to kind of undercut even guildmates. Because you will, obviously, people are frugal with their money and they're going to want to spend as little as possible. So you will want to be the best price in the store. That should get you the highest rate of sales. Now, I know that's going to start a bit of a bidding war for some people, but believe me, there's plenty to go around. There will be people that just come by, especially when we have a guild trader, see these deals and just buy everything that they need. So even if you're slot 4, 5, 6 on the list, it doesn't matter. They'll clean it out, especially if it's a good price. Now, if you're slot like 4, 5, 6, and say your price is really outdated, like let's use this guy again as an example. Let's say things used to be going for this price, but for whatever reason, he hasn't sold them, and in like a week or whatever, and the prices have dropped. Well, they're no longer going for that price. It's very unlikely that you're going to get that amount of money for that, so you're probably going to need to go here to listings, cancel your order, and then list it again for something cheaper. Another good sales tip is the items that you're selling. The best items to sell in the store are crafting related because they move pretty fast. Even provisioning related stuff will go pretty well, especially if priced decent. You can go for a few high price sales if that's what you want to do, or but it's not as efficient. Or you can do what I and many other people do and go for a lot of cheap sales, but a high volume of those sales, or sales that'll move really well, but I keep cycling items. Oh, and that doesn't mean that you should sell your super, super duper rare, crazy item for really cheap just because you want a quick... I mean, yeah, it'll sell really quick if it's a very valuable motif or something, and you're selling it way under margin, but you're cutting yourself out of a lot of money. Just try and keep it like 10-20% below if you're going for hyper quick sales below trade average, and it should sell. By now, I'm sure you know what I mean, and you can figure it out if you're trying to sell really valuable stuff. Another tip is to try to keep all of your guild store slots full at all times. This increases your chance of continuous sales. So if you have a lot of the same item to sell, another nice thing to do would probably be to split it into stacks of 200, the largest possible stack of that item. That way you don't waste slots in the guild store. Now, it is possible to split items into smaller... Let me just find something. Here we go. We retrieve 200 of these just for the sake of messing with it. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold Shift, and actually, right-click on it. What you're going to do is right-click on it and click Split Stack, and then you can type in the number there. So we're gonna type in 85 and hit Enter. See? Now we've split the stack. That's really easy. Now this next thing is pretty important. I may have been advertising in local as, never sell to NPCs again. Well, that's sort of true. A lot of people waste a lot of valuable items that they could have otherwise sold for a lot more money. But there are some items in this game that you do want to sell to NPCs, and I will go over them right now and tell you what to do with items that you typically don't want to sell, because there are things that you can do with them, and it's more than just selling it to NPCs. So right here you may notice a couple different icons. Like this one is, just a training axe. This is some stuff. Most of this stuff, honestly, I am going to deconstruct because it is not worth listing on the guild store at all or waiting for it to sell. So I will take that over to a crafting station that is appropriate for whatever item. I'll take it apart and hope to get the materials out of it for upgrades or whatever. That stuff will sell pretty well. The rest will not. The items that you see, like weapons and armor, that have the ornate trait applied to it, exactly right there on screen says this item sells to merchants for 280% more gold. That is a big deal. That is stuff that you absolutely want to sell to NPCs because you will get a lot of money. Keep an eye out for another trait, though, called Intricate. This is stuff that you want to throw on the guild store and sell to people, because people who are leveling will buy this because, as it says right there, you get 280% more experience when you deconstruct the item, and gain additional refined material upon deconstruction of this item. This is very valuable to people who are leveling. This is something that you do want to sell. Another thing to keep an eye out for is like jewelry and stuff like that. Most of the jewelry, even if it's rare, is trash. You're typically going to want to sell champion level 160 jewelry. If it's under that, even if it's a super rare set item, you probably don't want to sell it. I mean, you can start selling stuff that's closer to it, like 140, 150, but even that's going to be kind of hard to sell. I would just not even really bother with jewelry. I would sell that to NPCs or whatever, unless it is a set item. So this one is not a set item. This one is just, you know, it has an enchantment and a trait on it, and it's not that great. This one, on the other hand, is a set item, and it says part of the Armor of the Trainee set. As you can see, the average price for this is 500 gold. You can, if you really want to waste your... I say waste. For some people, it's not a waste. For me, because of how much I use my store and what items I put on there and how much I list and what the type of items I list, waiting for something like this to sell is a waste for me, but it might not be for you. But I wouldn't personally put this in there. I would still sell this to an NPC. But you can list this for 500 gold or whatever the average price is for that, maybe a little bit less, depending on whether or not you want to sell that side item. Sometimes set equipment, like weapons and armor, will also sell pretty good too. I don't currently have any with me, but some of it is good to sell. Not everything that you get, you're going to want to deconstruct it. You will actually want to sell some stuff, depending on how good it is. They do have some drops that are worth several thousand. I am not going to show you where to farm those. I don't know. I don't care. You can look it up. Just there and browse. There is another thing that you don't want to sell to guild stores. You want to sit there and sell to NPCs, and that is any item right here, as you can see, that is marked trash. No one's going to buy that. It's at 9 gold. Now, if you have a crap ton of these, you can sell 100 for, 900 gold, but I mean, that's a lot of farming. I mean, that'll get you some money. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you have auto loot on and you have a bunch of these, yeah, just go ahead and sell those to NPCs. But that's about it for sales tips and tricks. Oh, and I do have one more actually. The final sales tip is if you want to sell something or don't see something that you want to buy on the market for sale in the guild store, it never hurts to ask people in guild chat. At the moment, we're a small guild, so there's not a ton of items on the store. But I personally am in additional guilds that are full with 500 people in them, which is currently the limit. And people still ask if people are selling things or want to buy things in those guilds. So don't be afraid to ask. The final point is future goals of the guild. I'm bidding on a guild trader right now. Originally the plan was to get 350 members and then get a guild trader then. Hopefully we'll have luck. If I don't have a guild trader in the next week or two, by the time we get 350 members, we will seriously get a guild trader and put heavy cash down to get it. So just bear with us. At 500 members, we'll have a permanent guild TeamSpeak. Right now, the TeamSpeak that we have is just hosted by me. It's only on when I'm around and actually turn it on. It's for light use. No one's currently using it. It is not required to use it, but if you want to use it, it's there. Just ask me. But at 500 members, I will have a 24/7 up all the time TeamSpeak for the guild. Another stretch goal for 500 members is we're going to have a guild house. Everyone will have permission to use and mess with this house, decorator permissions. It's mostly for newer players or people who don't have houses yet to practice and build and just have fun. It's more like a social thing. And then a far future goal would possibly be a guild HQ, which would be another guild house, but a much larger and nicer one. It'll be a place for crafting, meetings, auctions, raffles, etc. And actually, speaking of that, on that front, we may down the road have auctions and raffles and stuff that the guild would do for a fundraiser. Partly for fun, but if we really need it, it would be to help us pay for guild traders. That is a lot of work and a lot of stuff I really don't want to manage, so if we can, I want to kind of avoid that. But if the overwhelming response is people want raffles, people want this, that, and the other, then I can set something like that up in the future after we get 500 members. You'd have to let me know in-game via mail. That is about... there is one other thing. Everybody can invite anybody to the guild. Everyone has permissions. You do not need to ask for a commander or anything. or an officer, you simply go to the roster and hit add member and type in their @name. That's the final note. Alright, that's about it for the video. Thanks for watching.